Salutations and welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Athanasian Creed. This, I believe, is verses 37 and 38, which means we only have these two plus two more after this, and then we're done. But first, last time on the Athanasian Creed. And now to correct the things that I brought up as possible errors in the previous video. Rationalis is actually an adjective, so it's feminine because anima is feminine, so just me being stupid there. And then as for inferos, the text that I have for the Athanasian Creed is, it actually says inferos, not infernos, so no, there is no nu that is supposed to be after the R there. Now, while there was no mistyping on my part for the previous verses, there is a mistyping for this verse. When writing this down, I didn't have a text that I could just copy paste like I do for some of the other things that I work with. I have to actually type this one out, and well, adventium does not exist. It's just adventum. So crossing out that E. Here's a rubric, everything we look for as we go through this text. Let's get started. Ascendit ad coelos sedit ad dextrum Dei Patris omnipotentis, inde venturus est judicare vivos et mortuos, ad cuius adventum omnes homines resurgere habent cum corporibus suis, et redituri sunt de factis propriis rationem. And there we have it. Ascendit is our first verb. Here we have ascendo, ascendere, ascendi. Again, this is one of those that the tense of it is not entirely clear, but again, think of what the context is. What was the previous tense that we had, especially for a verb like this, and that was descended, and that was perfect tense. So it's most likely that this one is going to be another perfect tense, third singular, possibly pres, more likely perf, and it is active, and it is indicative. Funny thing is, I don't refer to present and perfect that way in my brain, only when speaking. Okay, ascendit ad coelos. Ad is here because we've got another verb right there, os, so this is going to be plus accusative, and it is plural and masculine. Now, interesting thing about this word is it's just a variant spelling, of course, depending on who you ask, of kailos. Kylie, or kylum, kylie. Kylum, I think, is neuter, so this is the masculine variant, I guess. I don't really know why. He ascended to heavens, and the plural is pretty common with heavens in biblical literature, so of course it would continue through early church literature. It's actually strange that we always refer to as the singular rather than the plural, which most of the time that I remember seeing it in the Greek is. What I bet it is. So there's this idea that the plural in Hebrew is like a plural honorific. So when you've got the word for God, I'm probably going to misspell this. I think it's just, yeah, I'm not going to do the critical marks. So you got Elohim. This is the word for God. But in Hebrew, im is a plural ending. But the Jews they're monotheists, right? So why isn't it just El? Why don't they just say El or El? when they're referring to their God, because he's one. Hine Yisrael Elohim Echad, I think it is. Echad is the verse. And it's, behold Israel. It's Hine Yisrael Adonai Elohim Adonai Echad. There we go. Behold Israel, the Lord, Adonai standing on, and for the Tetragrammaton, is God. Your Lord is God. The Lord is one. Again, Tetragrammaton plus the word for one, Echad. So then how is it that in Genesis God is referred to in the plural? Well, it's got to be an honorific. It's got to be a way of saying that. And I'm going to be super sarcastic here. And I don't mean it against God. I really don't like this idea. But anyway, it's like he's super duper God, unlike Baal and Ashtaroth and Molech and all of the others, who are sometimes referred to in the singular. But God is also sometimes referred to in the singular in Hebrew. I know, I've read just a little bit. So I think that's bunk. I'm probably wrong, I don't know that much about Hebrew, but I think the idea that a plural in Hebrew is a honorific, or I forget what they call it, I don't think that makes any sense. But this is because, in large part, I'm coming from the Christian perspective. And to use Elohim rather than El for God, either one works. As the Athanasian Creed could tell you. When we would read Elohim in the plural, we understand this is talking about the three persons of the Trinity. When we see El in the singular for the Hebrew, we understand that this is talking about the Godhead in general, or one particular person of the Trinity. The Jews, they can't have that understanding of this because they are a monotheistic religion in their current format. So this has to be an honorific for them of some sort. Whereas for Christians, Athanasian Christians, Nicene Christians, Apostolic Christians, we don't need to think that way. I think it makes more sense to treat a plural as a plural, unless there's like some scholar before Christ who says, la-di-da, this is a honorific. Then maybe there's some credence to it. Oh, I'm sorry. Long tirade. That just to say I think we should translate heavens as heavens. But there's probably an argument not to. I don't know. So sedet, we've got et right there. That's third singular. And this is sedeo, so a second conjugation. Present tense, therefore, active and indicative. Ad, prepositional phrase, plus the accusative, which we see with dextram. De is the wrong form to be part of the prepositional phrase, but it is genitive. Patres is also the wrong form to be part of the prepositional phrase, but it's also genitive. And then omnipotentis, is right there, it can only be genitive, so this is just one long prepositional phrase with the genitive owning dextram. So genitive, singular, masculine. Intis is going to be shifting out of the screen. Present, active, participle. So, sits, present tense. And normally we translate odd to or toward, but in this case, it's not like he's sitting toward God the Father. But no, odd can also mean like locational, place at. And we might even say facing. Facing? No. Maybe. Weird thought flew through my head about this. At right, and since this is going to be acting substantively, accusative, singular, feminine, it stands in the place of a real noun, which would be manus, the feminine fourth declension noun. Hand of the Father. And then we have the two words together, omni and potentis, just powerful, all. All powerful, all able. There we go. Inde, here we have our directional adverb. This means from whence. Love the word whence. Venturus est, here is the primary part of the verb, so we've got the, of course, third singular present, but it is paired off with venturus, and we have a normal verb with the future participial addition to the stem, of course in the nominative singular masculine. So while this is present, when it is paired with venturus, when it's paired with the future participle, it itself becomes future. And it is the second periphrastic, I think is what it's called. Peri, I think. And of course, periphrastic, as you may recall, just means, oh, fridge is back. Just means that it is two words stuck together, or more than two words stuck together, to say a single thing. So, from whence he is going to is what we would say. He is, and then being about to, going to. To come. And then here we want an infinitive, which we find with judicare, present, active, infinitive. And of course, to judge, judico, judicare, sounds like what it is. I need to learn to speak louder because of my fridge. Vivos, os right there is of course accusative plural. It's going to be masculine, but masculine generic, just standing in for all of humanity. At mortuos, again, accusative plural, generic for all of humanity. Those who have not died. We might even say the alive ones and dead ones. Okay. Verse 38. Ad, prepositional phrase, what we start out with. No verb, no verb, no verb, no verb. Regusugere. We have re for a present, active, infinitive, and habent. Habeo, habere. So this is going to be third, plural, present, active, of course, and indicative. So we want to find our subject, which we see with omnes homines. This doesn't work. Prepositional phrase has to end at omnes because adventum, not e, is the right case, but omnes would have to be excluded because there are different numbers. So nominative, plural, masculine. All men, all human beings have to rise again. Which is it's a difficult way of understanding things in English. We don't talk that way. We don't say, I have, well, we do have phrases where we use I have to infinitive, but not in the way that this is being used. This is like they have a rising again, because remember, an infinitive is actually just a noun in either the accusative case or the nominative case. In this case, it's going to be functioning as an accusative with habet. So all the human beings, the thing that they are in possession of is a rising again. A verbalized, a noun verb. There we go. Ad plus accusative. Cuius is, of course, genitive singular. Qui, quae, quod, quis, yep. As I just said, from qui, quae, quod. Adventum is accusative, singular, and adventus is, I think, masculine? Yeah, I don't know. Pretty sure it's masculine, but it's a fourth declension, so again, it will be a ad, not that one, a ad like that one rather than this one, so a locational rather than a directional ad. We get again one more time from the re, tacked onto that as we did with the previous page. Cum, prepositional phrase. Corporibus and suis, both of those are the correct form. Ibus and is. Corpus, corporus. Ablative, plural, neuter, plus ablative here. So this is just ablative of accompaniment. With, that's a terrible H, their own bodies. Et and redituri sunt. Here we've got another UR for another second paraphrastic. With sunt this time it's going to be, with sunt and I should say, masculine plural. Same as this, which I will draw down. And redditur, reddo, really, it has the meanings of return, to restore, you can render something, but when it is paired with something like rationem right there, our accusative, singular, feminine, direct object, means to return an account, to render an account. Basically what accountants back in the day would do. They would reddere rationem, to return records. And they, still being the omnes homines, no, it wouldn't be. We want to translate it the same way. Are going to de factis propriis give an account. De plus the ablative. Factis right there, of course, as I've already marked with the parens. These are both ablative plural, and factum, facti, is going to be neuter, most likely, because factus, when you turn something abstract like factus into a noun, then normally the policy of Latin is to change it into a neuter. Not always, but this one is a pretty common one. Concerning de, rather than down from. I think it's Google Translate and my students who would always translate de as down from, almost never ever according to. But then again, when I started doing this, I think I always wanted to treat it the same way as well. It's like the most common use in biblical literature of de that I've run into is the one that you learn about last for this word. Give an account concerning proprius. This means the particular to one's self deeds. Their own and there we have it. This one is probably a very long video. I'm sorry about that, but tangents just must happen. So I hope taking a look at this has been helpful for you, and I hope that you have a very good day and you can actually hear me during the whole video after my roommate woke up. Have a good day.